Hey, what's up? Dusk here. So we're going to go over every single clown in this video, talk about loadouts, the different items, weapons, and go over a few gameplay tips as well. And with that said, let's get started. First, let's cover a few gameplay tips, shall we? Because that'll make some of these loadouts that I've got to show you make a little bit more sense. The first one is going to be deciding between whether you should do cotton candy damage to cocoon a human or to do physical damage where you can just down them and execute them on the spot. If you have the opportunity to do physical damage and get an execution, always opt for that because the execution is instant. There is no needed follow-up, and the human is out of the game, and the only way they can get back in is a one-use only resurrection machine. If you cocoon the human, they can be saved an indefinite number of times. You have to guard the cocoon, and if you want to get any benefit out of the cocoon, you have to carry it to a machine. All very time-consuming, and this prevents you from trying to run down other humans without the first human getting saved. And once they finally die in the cocoon, they can still also be brought back by the one-use only resurrection machine. So there really is no benefit for cocooning a human player unless all clown players are very aggressively seeking out and farming the cocoons and hanging those up. And in that one scenario where it looks like you are well on your way toward getting an early clown apocalypse, that is the one and only one time where you'll want to opt to do cocoons over physical damage. Now, some of you are going to say, well, I see clowns go for cocoons all the time, or I can't get the physical damage, so what do? I'm struggling to down humans. Well, that's the caveat to this. The cotton candy ray guns are all ranged attacks. And most of your other weapons are melee attacks. And if a human's running from you, you can't really melee them. This means that when it comes to running a human down, yeah, you will have to go ahead and opt for the cocoon play. And there really isn't a whole lot you can do about that, especially early game when you don't have access to hypnotic lure or invisible clown car, or some of those stronger abilities, right? So that's going to be the cadence on clown. You want to go for the physical damage every chance you get, but often you are going to be stuck going for the cocoon play instead. Just understand like what and when, you should be going for those things. Which brings me to the first weapon I want to talk about, and that's the popcorn bazooka. This is why the popcorn bazooka is so powerful, because it allows you as a clown player to completely overcome that dynamic, get rid of the cotton candy guns, and just go straight for kills right out of the gate. You don't have to wait for the tier 3 abilities, you don't have to worry about the power dynamic in the game for ramping up as a clown. You can just come out and start getting the kills right off the bat early, and that's really, really powerful. Even though the bazooka has had its range nerf and its damage nerf, it's still capable of downing and killing humans on a faster clown that can keep up with them, because you're going to have to land an awful lot of hits, to be fair. So yeah, that's the whole dynamic with like damage and when and what to use on your weapons. Another good tip is to pay attention to what your teammates are doing. If you've got a teammate that does have a popcorn bazooka out and they're going for a lot of physical damage, you pulling out a cotton candy ray gun isn't going to help that clown get his down. What you're going to want to do is try to cut off the human and do everything you can to slow them down. And then if you can, get in some physical damage yourself. If you can't, and you have a good opportunity to get a quick and easy cocoon, go ahead and do that. But that is going to basically nullify all the work they put into that target. If they've been on that target for a while, or you think they've been on that target for a while, and it looks like they're eventually going to get the kill, go ahead and leave them to it. Go do some other stuff, look for another human, patrol your objectives, so on and so forth, or watch their back. If you think another human's going to come in and trying to attack them to peel them off the one they're chasing, you go in and peel the other human. So there's just some good like team fight strategies to be aware of and how to assess whatever situation you and your teammates might be in. And for the most part, honestly, that's kind of all you really need to know. So let's go ahead and jump into the different classes of clowns, and we'll talk about each one and go down what I would have for recommended builds. We'll start off with the Ranger, which I think is supposed to be this well-rounded clown, but honestly, they have like 3 health bars and really decent movement speed and kind of an okay strength bar, really. So this is honestly just a pretty decent clown. This is what I would call like a B tier or like a B plus tier clown. As far as tiers go, I'm just going to use like A, B, and C. There aren't really enough classes here to have more than 3 tiers, right? So yeah, I would call Ranger like a strong B tier pick. And as far as weapons go, the Penta Shot is pretty good. The Cotton Candy Ray Gun can also be really good. The Cotton Candy Ray Gun would be best when combined with the LOL ability, because that's going to let you keep up with the human. And if you can keep up with a human, the Cotton Candy Ray Gun is basically a guaranteed cocoon. They really can't get away from you, and no matter how much they strafe, the Cotton Candy Ray Gun arcs to its target. So as long as you're kind of aiming at them, it's going to stay on them. It's pretty much a guaranteed cocoon unless they have windows to vault through or something where they can like hard break your line of sight to them. But again, if you've got the speed boost from the LOL ability, odds are you're right on top of them. And if they turn to try and hit you, you can run backwards at the same speed you run forward. So, yeah, if you want to be a little bit stronger in the mid-game and combo with your LOL ability, then Cotton Candy Ray Gun might be your better pick. But if that's not your play style, the Penta Shot is really strong now that they've bug fixed it. That patch was today. And the Ranger is fast enough that you can get up on top of a target, or if a target tries to rush you, then you can start tearing into them with the Penta Shot. And the Penta Shot does have a stagger, which can be really, really helpful, especially if you need to backpedal from a really aggressive human player. Also, the Penta Shot allows you to top off cotton candy that's on an objective, like the speedboat or, you know, the bunker, something like that. Like, you can rip a couple of shots out really quick and then boom, have that cotton candy blockage at like 100%. So it's got some nice utility that comes with it. Penta Shot is where I'm going with the Clown. And then as far as like abilities, Hypnotic Lure, because Hypnotic Lure has a lot of good synergy with the Penta Shot as well. So I'm going for like an early game, late game setup on my Ranger. And then Boxing Gloves, because Boxing Gloves and Hypnotic Lure also have some nice combos. And again, the Ranger does have 3 health bars and some decent mobility, which allows them to really make use out of the Boxing Gloves, because the Boxing Gloves stagger with every hit as well as doing really good damage. So as the human tries to run away, if you can get like Hypnotic Lure them in and kind of get beside them where it's harder for them to get away from you while you're staggering them, you can move sideways with them while they're trying to run away. These are pretty much guaranteed kills and ensures you're going to have a really powerful late game. Also, the Brawler gloves do have a charged ability that's actually useful. None of the other Clown weapons that have charged abilities are useful. They're all pretty bad. But this one has a knock your block off ability. When they start swinging that arm, and once it's fully charged, if you hit a human with it, it's an instant one-shot kill even if they're full health. And that is crazy. And where that comes in helpful, because it is really hard to hit, like impossibly hard. But where it's easy to land is if a human's coming at you. And so what you do is, if you get like some aggressive humans, is you backpedal and start winding that up. And as soon as you get that wound up, they will back off, because they realistically can't come into your Clown and fight you without the risk of getting one-shot killed. And so I like this as like a good, I like this as a way to back off aggressive players. And if you can get the one-shot kill, then you can also follow up with the Penta Shot to do a quick cocoon on maybe a second target. You might have to backpedal a little bit on this one, but again, it's got that stagger on it, so that can make it hard for humans to stay on top of you as well. So it's this nice skirmishy loadout on my Ranger here. So yeah, Ranger, strong B tier. I recommend these loadouts. You can definitely go Jawbreaker on the Ranger, and you can also go Popcorn Bazooka if you want to really lean into early game aggression. Clown Mallet's not strong on anybody, but it's a nice starter weapon if you're new to the game. Nothing wrong with the Clown Mallet, but it just gets outshined by these 3 weapons. Gobstopper Flail, I think, is a little bit of a bait. In its current state, this is not a good weapon. And I don't really recommend that on any Clown. Alright, that brings us to our next Clown, the Tracker. The Tracker is unfortunately a C-tier Clown. Now, there is a rumor that their stamina is bugged out and that you have way more stamina than you're supposed to. And I have tested it, and it does feel like that's true. But that was also before the hot fix today, and that might have been fixed for all I know. But assuming the stats are accurate, and assuming that if there is a bug, it will be fixed soon, because I'm going to be honest, they've really been on the bug fixes. It's been kind of impressive. The fact that they have a lower movement speed means that this clown is going to have a harder time keeping up with the human that's running away, and is going to have a harder time kiting away from a human that's being aggressive. And granted, while you do have 3 health bars, you are just kind of inferior to the ranger that has the faster movement speed and the higher strength. And sense, as far as we can tell, is a little overrated. Sense is kind of an ignorable stat, honestly. Like, if you really want to find humans, then you take the balloon dog, right? Like, that's kind of all you're for. So, yeah, I'm not a big fan of Tracker. I don't like this clown. If I were going to play Tracker, it'd probably just be like Jawbreaker Mace and Bounce Caster, Hypnotic Lure. But, again, it's not a great clown. I'm going to call it C tier. That brings us over to Trapper. Now, Trapper has max stamina, which is really awesome, and really good movement speed, but only 2 health bars. And the strength is a little on the low side. Because the strength is on the low side, I almost like say that you have to take Popcorn Bazooka on this clown, but that's fine because Popcorn Bazooka is really good. It combos really well with the movement speed and stamina. If you find yourself needing to do like a really quick down, or you want to do a quick down though, Cotton Candy Ray Gun, because again, you're really fast on this clown, and a human is going to have a hard time getting away from you before you are able to actually cocoon them. Because you can, again, stay on top of them, and the ray gun arcs to the survivor. They can't really strafe to try and dodge the hits. It doesn't really work. They have to run as hard as they can in a straight line and hope they either get out of range or can find something like a car to strafe around in a circle. That's the only way they can get away from the ray gun. Tricks, I like the balloon dog on Trapper, because, again, your mobility already makes you a force to be reckoned with. So, use the balloon dog and go hunt out survivors and then run them down and kill them. It's a really, really nice kit. This is another strong B tier clown right here. Almost A tier, maybe like a B plus tier. I don't know, but either way, it's a strong pick. So this brings us to the tank. Now, the tank is like Trapper, kind of a C tier clown, but this clown has some caveats to it that the Trapper doesn't. C tier for this clown means you don't ever really want any more than 1 tank on your team at a time, but 1 tank can be extremely powerful because of how good they are at breaking up kill squads. You have 4 health bars, and if you start your heal early, like at the start of a fight, you can have 3 humans rush up on you, and they hit you, heal, hit you, heal, hit you, heal. It takes forever to eat through all those heals on top of the 4 health bars. Now, keep in mind, you need to use the heal early. If you wait until you're low, they're still going to beat you down, and the regeneration's not going to get to work all that much. So make sure you use that heal early. Now, because the tank is really here to kind of like break up kill squads and shut down aggressive players, I like the Jawbreaker Mace almost exclusively because it has a nice AoE arc to it, so you can hit multiple humans if you need to, and it does a lot of damage, and the tank has insanely high strength. So that is my recommended loadout, and for the Cotton Candy Gun, pretty much Bounce Caster is about it. I've used Laser Beamer because it's so long range. You'll never cotton candy anybody solo with the Laser Beamer because it kind of sucks in that regard, but it can be a good support gun to support other clowns. That said, it's kind of just outshined by the Bounce Caster, which can still do long-range support and like AoE explosions and all that. So I would recommend for the tank, you just take Bounce Caster. You're really too slow to utilize the ray gun or the pentashot, and if people are charging you, you want to be using the Jawbreaker Mace, right? As far as tricks go, I like the invisible car because the mobility is much needed in the late game where you need to turn up the aggression on this clown. Normally on the tank, you're going to play early game for gathering cocoons and then guarding objectives. You're not really going to be chasing down humans, right? And that's why you need the invisible car for late game so that you can shift gears. Now, there is a caveat. You might want to do Hypnotic Lure instead if you decide to go with boxing gloves. Because again, this clown's strength is through the roof. And if you can lure somebody in, and again, kind of get beside them where they have a hard time really getting away, and you can kind of move with them a little bit. And again, the boxing gloves have a stagger with every hit, making them even harder to get away from once you're on somebody. Hypnotic Lure and boxing gloves can also be a really powerful loadout on the tank. And again, this is a clown that can break up kill squads. So it is technically C tier, but it is also one of my favorite clowns to take because you can dominate so hard against humans that don't realize just how tanky this clown actually is. And last but not least, we have the Brawler here. The Brawler, I'm going to go ahead and call an A tier, and that's just because their mobility is maxed out, and is the smallest clown. Their hitbox is really difficult to hit. Or maybe that's just the game's bad hit registry, it's hard to tell. But yeah, that combined with the fact that you have the maxed out movement speed, you know, and awesome stamina to go with it, means that this clown is just an aggressive force to be reckoned with. Almost impossible to get away from a Brawler or a Shorty, which I think we all just call him Shorty, right? So for me, I like Cotton Candy Ray Gun almost exclusively because the rundown potential is unmatched. If you want to cotton candy somebody, you can just run them down. You don't even need the speed boost from the LOL ability. And as far as weaponry goes, the Popcorn Bazooka, because it allows for hyper early game aggression, and this pretty much offsets the fact that Brawler only has 2 health bars. They can't ever realistically get to you because you're moving backwards at a very fast speed, and the Popcorn Bazooka is staggering, and it marks that target so that if you have a second Brawler on your team, that Brawler can then jump in also with their Popcorn Bazooka, and together you're going to annihilate whoever the hell you're up against, right? Like, there just isn't a whole lot a human's going to be able to do against that, but there is something like energy drink and just a straight, like, long distance breakaway is the best shot a human is going to have, or maybe like a short loop, maybe jump through a window, something where you can hinder the clown a little bit, and then, you know, energy drink and break away. Whatever it is, you just like, to deal with the Popcorn Bazooka, you need to do an extremely long distance breakaway. That's about the only thing you're going to be able to do to get away from this clown. So this is a really, really powerful setup on a really, really powerful clown. And so for the abilities here, I really prefer Hypnotic Dog. Balloon Dog, for the same reason I liked it on Trapper. You're an aggressive clown that can just run down and kill people, so the Balloon Dog is just going to help you find them. Obviously, like, Hypnotic Lure can be really good too, because you can do plays like the speedboat, where people get in the speedboat, but you can Hypnotic Lure one of them out of the speedboat. And if that's the driver, that can be extra hilarious, right? So there definitely is a playstyle that uses Hypnotic Lure. And with all the clowns, because you notice I haven't mentioned Pizza Box yet, right? Pizza Box is the weakest trick, but not because it's bad, it's because it's an ambush-based playstyle, and it really doesn't matter what game you're playing. Ambush tactics tend to be inconsistent just by their nature, right? And so that makes Pizza Box inconsistent. But when it works really well. So if you like Pizza Box and you're getting results with it, or if it just fits your playstyle, or it's fun, by all means, play Pizza Box. But as far as just like raw power, it does come in last, and that is largely due to the inconsistency of how ambush tactics work, right? So anyway, that's a breakdown of all the clowns. That's our tips. Hope you found this stuff all useful. If you have some tips that I didn't cover, or some tech that I didn't cover, maybe some stuff I don't know about, by all means, share that stuff in the comments. Let me know what you think of the video overall, and hopefully we'll see you in the next one.